Ooh. Are we live? Looks like we're live. Oh my days. Sharing the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Hope we're doing alright. This is the first episode of Rankin's Records. Got my can of Red Stripe. Got some fucking bangers in the bag. This absolute monster, Sonic and Silver remix of Bad Company, Rush Hour. Oh. I basically grew up in a club called the Volks on Brighton Seafront at a night every Friday called Lunacy. And the guy who ran it, Chris Natural, God bless him, used to start sets with this. Woo. Time this with a pinger, mate, you're done. You're dead. Oh, naughty. I haven't got a playlist as such. Got a bag of tunes, probably be fine. Absolute monster. Absolute monster. Right, let's stick with Bad Company for the time being, because we might as well, really. You know, we're here, aren't we? We're drinking Red Stripe. We're having a good time on a Thursday. Might as well stick with Bad Company. Right, let's go slightly weird with, I'm sure you'll remember when Body Rock came out with the ridiculous triplet drums. And then everyone sort of quickly piled on to see who could get the next triplet banger out. And this was undoubtedly my favourite. Oh. Oh. This is Space Hopper by Bad Company. Monstrous. Truly monstrous. Sorry if the sound seems to be slightly out of sync on YouTube, but as someone has politely pointed out, they're here for the music, not to see my lips in sync with the words. God bless all you brave boys that are in the chat. I did try and do a double broadcast where it would broadcast on Facebook at the same time, but fuck me if it wasn't having any of that.
This is Triton's universe.
This is an absolute gem. To get all the chin swingers properly jiggling. Little bit of fresh magic there. Good old Dan. God bless him. God bless Robin Hood. Right, now, I don't know what year that's from. What have we got? Be fun to know, wouldn't it? 2002. Sweet Baby Jesus, 16 years ago. That was, I think Dan and D-Bridge, maybe? Dan and Maldini. Lovely, lovely. Right, now, right, let me see if we get the actual right side. It's always important, isn't it? Otherwise, we'll go for a sort of John Peel moment. What are we doing? Yeah, it sounds about right. If not, we'll bloody well flip it over. Oh yeah, that's right. This was like one of the ultimate double drop weapons for a long time. We were being at Meltdown and hearing Andy C double drop this with Pack of Wolves. Woo, mama! One, check. If I was to pair this with a pinger, I'd say a sort of speckled Rolex. Whoa. Something a bit dubious looking, you know what I mean? Something a bit fucking gully. Oh. This is, of course, the Baron remix of Nosha by Total Science. Fine bit of fucking clown step if ever I heard one. I've got the Craze remix of it as well here, although it's kind of much the same really, apart from with some scratching over the top. You know, what are you gonna do? So I did say all requests would be considered, but I've only got a bag of about 50 records here, so it's sort of potluck really. And yeah, if you are having issues with the sound being out of sync, my suggestion is to open up Google image search in another tab, search for puppies and kittens, and just look at that instead. Or just search pictures of pingers. Fine bit of fucking Gurn fodder right there, mate. I tell ya. I bloody tell ya. Right, okay, so little number here. What I would consider to be a fairly underrated high contrast track. It's an absolute fucking banger. I don't know who the MC on it is. It doesn't say on here. It's where it's called Angels and Fly. It's an absolute monster. Whoa, swirl that up.
I spit quicker when I'm sipping liquor. Make sure that these other artists are done within a flicker. Getting sicker than Jack the Ripper or Jekyll and Hyde. Don't call me Bonnie, in this case I'm more closer to Clyde. I'm wearing trousers, making all these rappers weep like flowers. We hate snitches, so we separate from all the gowers. Unless you're undercover, later on you can get smothered. After hours they could get smacked like I'm their mother. Or I could bring a good group of fathers, imperadas. Getting hot like lava or cold, what would you rather? My pain is like a disability, keeping me crippled, stopping me from doing things of capability. I'm not a fronter, but I will hide my sensitivity, cause snakes will play on my weakness and try to get the best of me. That shit makes my heart turn hollow. Forget these fake snakes, no one left to follow me. And turn my sight from clean to green with envy. Full of hype shit, diamonds, guns and Bentleys. Don't you wanna be angels and fly? Now they'd rather mess with devils, get in trouble and die. Leaving mummy crying, gazing to the sky, asking why. And your daddy too, that's if he never left you like mine. Don't you wanna be angels and fly? Now they'd rather mess with devils, get in trouble and die.
Yeah, this is naughty. Proper fucking rascal, this one. I thought the Red Stripe was an appropriate beer to drink because, frankly, I can't think of any beers more drum and bass than Red Stripe. Frankly, if you can think of a drum and bass, if you can think of a beer more drum and bass than Red Stripe, please let me know because I'd love to drink it. The MC on this is called No Lay, of course.
Through the illest niggas path I was built to last. I take on any task real fast from the master class. And you know my staff work hard, you don't know my past. I just like to smash a lot, so call me Lady Glass Mask Cash a lot. Got the sword like Lancelot, ride the night.
Someone suggested Desperados as a drum and bass drink. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's more drum and bass than Red Stripe, but it's as good as you're likely to get. You could also maybe rum and coke. Oh, it's tricky. You could make like a drum and bass cocktail that, I don't know, it definitely will have rum in it. It's probably got a little sprinkling of ketamine around the rim. Oh, maybe it's got some sort of awful cider in it. Who knows? Right, dearie me. Okay, right, now I've got a naughty little number right here, boys and girls. Naughty fucking number, I tell you. Oh, fucking hell. This will make Danny Dye look like a choir boy. Nah, mate. Nah, fucking mate. This is the first TC record that I ever heard. Maybe he released records before this. I'm not aware of them. Again, if there are TC records out before this, I'd love to hear them. This was out on Valve, I think, or I don't know, maybe not Valve. It was well, anyway, it was Beats, which was Dillinger and Lemon D's other imprint. And I mean, I thought it was an alias of Lemon D when I first heard it, because obviously it's of that sort of Valve sound, that ridiculous bass sort of kind of simple steppy drums, like nice vocal, some bleeps, and a big old fucking bass line. But no, it turns out it was a new boy to the scene. TC, they called him, from the West Country. There we go. Oh, proper rascal.
It's all on me. It's all on me. It's all on me.
Oh, well, the sync finally sorted itself out. Lovely. God bless YouTube.
It's all on me. It's all on me. It's all on me. I don't come for free. It's all on me. It's all on me.
Shout out to everyone who used to go to Run in Bristol on a Tuesday night. It was Tuesday, wasn't it? I don't know. I was on a lot of good times back in those days.
It's all on me. I don't come for free. It's all on me. It's all on me. It's all on me. It's all.
Those bleeps sound a little bit like Concord Dawn, Morning Light. Am I wrong? Am I losing my mind?
It's all
Who do you reckon that is? Jakes? Could be Jakes. It doesn't sound like TC. 10 points to whoever can guess it. I don't know. Beauty, absolute fucking beauty. Oh, well, I mean, those bleats do sound a little bit Concord, Dorney. Like, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not saying there's foul play afoot or anything like that. So, well, I've got it right here. Let's find out. Don't cry about it, you know, obviously, if they are similar. So there's been too long a gap now to be able to tell. No, I'm going to let him off. I'm not going to make wild accusations of plagiarism. Not on the first show, anyway. We can get into that later down the line. I don't have Good Girl by Dillinger, but I do have some other Dillinger just waiting to pop out the bag. Man, this is such a fucking beanhead tune. Oh. I was listening to this earlier, just got ridiculous, like, goosebumps. Hold tight my horns and whistles, crew! People at the front, people at the back, okay! Is this the first Concord Dawn track out there? Maybe there was a couple out before, but this was their sort of big breakthrough fucking banger, wasn't it? This is when everyone was like, who are these guys? What, they're from New Zealand? Oh, mate. I think that's what they said. Now, talking of breakthrough tunes, this is not one of them. This is probably Subfocus's third or fourth release, maybe. I feel like his first release was called Down the Drain, maybe, and then there was one called Acid Test. I think that was... and then this is, we start putting out stuff out on Frequency, which is that sort of RAM feeder label, as far as I'm aware. Look, don't take anything I say as gospel. We're going back a while now, and I might not even have the correct information at the time. So, but anyway, this is Sound Guy by Subfocus, and it's an absolute stonker. I mean, Jesus Christ, this was back when Subfocus was like, he was angsty. You could tell he had angst in his pants. He was like a teenage emo. I mean, maybe he was a teenage emo. I don't know. Oh, you could feel the sort of, bubbling masculinity within it. Hey, I'm not throwing shade on his recent stuff. I'm just saying that this stuff is the fucking business. Oh. Someone's requested Curb Crawler by Ed Rush. I do. I was gonna. I think I've got some other similar era Ed Rush and Optical. Got Flight Path off the Creeps. Play that in a bit. Oh, monstrous. Who's the other MC on that? Budgie Banton, maybe? He made some good records when he wasn't being an awful homophobe. Right. Well, I got a little story for y'all. So this next record is the first drum and bass record that I knowingly heard. This was from 2000. It is called Carnage by Decorum, and it takes me back to probably the most embarrassing experience of my life so far. I'm not there's every possibility that I will have far more embarrassing experiences, but this was so far the crowning moment. I was 16 years old, maybe 15, no, 16 years old. And at college, I'd had decks for about a year, I would say. I had some Sound Lab belt drive decks. They were absolute shithouse. They were literally the cheapest decks money can buy. But I loved them like they were an extension of my body. And I used to go out and buy records, but I didn't really know anything about dance music. I was into heavy metal. But I just wanted to be a DJ because I thought it'd be a good way to get girls, and I couldn't play any instruments. And so I would sort of trawl the racks at various record shops, like thinking, oh, well, looking at the sort of names of genres and stuff like that. I didn't really know anything, and there was a genre called Big Beat, and I thought, oh, wow, that sounds good. Yeah, maybe the bigger the beats, the better. You know, how you can't go wrong with enormous beats, can you? So I bought a load of Big Beat and a load of sort of, just dance tracks of the day. Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, ATB, 9 p.m. till I come, all those sorts of classics. And then a sign went up at the college that I was going to that said, like, DJ Showcase, come and show your DJ skills. And I thought, finally is now the opportunity for me to show everyone what an incredible DJ I am. I'm probably the best DJ in the world, and they just need to know this, and they just need to hear me, and they'll know that I'm the best new 16-year-old DJ with a pair of SoundLab belt drives. And so I went to sign up for this DJ showcase, and the guy's like, "Oh, great, cool. So what sort of music do you play?" And I'd never really thought about what sort of music I played. Like, I didn't really know much about genres. I was like, "Oh yeah, so what? Yeah, whoa, cool. Yeah, what do I play?" And I looked him dead in the eye, and I went, "Hard house. I play hard house." I didn't know what hard house was. Genuinely, I had no idea. But I thought, yeah, that's probably what I play. I probably play house that's quite hard. And so he was like, "Oh, great, yeah, okay, cool." So it's at this time. It's at lunch break in the sort of common room, and everyone will be there, and we're going to rent some decks and a sound system. It'll all be absolutely fine. So I thought, brilliant. About time everyone's going to know what a fucking hero I am. Little did I know that I had no idea how to DJ. Absolutely no idea whatsoever. I thought I could beat mix. I didn't even know what beat mixing was. I just thought, you just sort of merge records over the top of each other, and that's sort of DJing, isn't it? It's not. No, there's a little bit more to it than that. This is sort of pre-internet days as well, so I couldn't even Google what is DJing? How do you DJ? So I'd rigorously planned out this set, and I'd written it down, and I'd written down what pitches stuff had to be, except that I didn't know what beat matching was. So what I'd written down must have been complete fucking nonsense, just absolute meaningless, just numbers that I genuinely thought was like some sort of actual meaningful set list. It was nonsense. And I turned up, and they had a pair of Technics 1210s. I'd only heard of Technics 1210s at this point. I'd never even seen any in real life. But there they were in all their sort of shining glory. And at first I was like, "Oh, look, the pitch controls go like the other way. And they go up to 8. And this is going to be confusing." It wouldn't have made any difference. What I'd written down was nonsense. So, it was all by the by at that point. But they decided that they would put me on first, which was very kind of them. And pretty much the entire college turned out to see this. And so I decided that my first mix would be Breathe by The Prodigy, that hard house anthem, and mix it into Hey Boy, Hey Girl by the Chemical Brothers, with the aim of sort of cutting it in at that "here we go" sort of bit. And so I put them on, hands really trembling, and everyone's sort of watching, and like Breathe comes on, and everyone's a bit like, "That's a sort of obvious Prodigy record. I wonder what he's going to do." And and everyone's staring at me, and I was like, right, okay, so got to get the next one in, and trying to sort of cut it in. It was still just going very, very wrong, and it wasn't in time, and it wouldn't really work. I was like reaching over, like, "Oh no, maybe I just need to adjust the pitch a little bit more," and kept trying. And the decks were sort of turned around into what I believe at the time was known as battle mode, which was for the more sort of scratchy DJs. And as I sort of reached over for the pitch control, I just knocked the needle straight off the record, and there was an awful needle scratching noise, and then complete silence. And it was literally like in films where there's like needle scratch, freeze frame. Yeah, that's me. I guess you're wondering how I got up into this situation. And I didn't know what to do, so I just ducked down underneath the sort of it was like a counter of a sort of tuck shop thing that the decks were on, and there was a cupboard underneath it, and I got into it, and then I was sort of peeking out of the cupboard, and this is a true story, and looking at the guy who was organising this, who just had his hands over his face, and just sort of like nervously laughing, and then he realised I wasn't getting out of the cupboard, so he got up and started playing some actual hard house, and I stayed in the cupboard for, I don't know, another 10 minutes or something, and then managed to sort of creep out of the back. It was absolutely harrowing, and it's the sort of stuff that you can ruin a young man's life with an experience like that. It was a deeply traumatic event. But on the plus side, about an hour later, I came back to this DJ showcase, sort of with my tail between my legs, and someone was playing this record, which is Carnage Decorum. It's on the first Ram Raiders LP, and it was my sort of first ever introduction to drum and bass. And I went out later that day after hearing it and bought Ram Raiders 1, Ram Raiders 2, and then went to Lunacy at the Volks. And yeah, the rest is history, really. So here we go. This is, I mean, it almost sounds a bit sort of tamed compared to today's standards, but oh boy, when you're a 16-year-old boy, I'll tell you what, this was the absolute business. And that is the longest introduction to this record there has ever been. Yeah, I don't know how long I stayed in the cupboard for. It felt like a lifetime, but it was probably about 15 minutes. There are some lovely stories coming up in the chat of people with similarly terrible experiences. Leo managed to wangle a gig at 14 at an under 16s night, played heavy dubstep and drum and bass for 4 hours, and people asked for Rihanna and Drake all night. God bless you. Took drugs for the first time a week later, never looked back. Every track on this 6-tracker is amazing. So the first 3 Ram Raiders EPs, LPs, whatever you want to call them, were so good. Like, they're so like ahead of their time with that sort of futuristic, just sort of cyber sound. It was just like nothing else. Undoubtedly, like my favourite time of drum and bass, like those very, very early noughties. I was listening to Turbulence in the car earlier. It's just so good. So I guess the other people on that sort of sci-fi, futuristic, but absolute tear-out spectrum as well as, of course, their Russian Optical. This is off their Creeps album, I believe, and mama. It's just... Man, just, I don't know, imagine being able to make tunes this good. That was an emotional story back then. It actually sort of gave me the fear thinking about it again. Beauty. Absolute beauty. I had a... maybe I'll play it in a bit. Yeah. No, I'll save that story. I'll play it later. Right, it's time to go hardcore going crew. I heard this first when I went to Valve at the Brighton Racecourse. Me and James, who is now known as Elvis 1990, we went there. It was May the 4th. People weren't even saying May the 4th be with you back in those days, but we came up with it together on pingers. I'm not saying we started it, but we noticed the association. Yeah, James dropped his first pinger. I was out of my mind. It was a ridiculous lineup. I definitely wasn't old enough to be in there. It was so sweaty and ridiculous. And, I mean, the lineup was absolutely absurd. But this was just everyone just... I must have heard this about 5 or 6 times over the course of the evening. It was just like, oh my God, what on earth is this? Just so monstrous. It's proper 5-panel. I don't even know if it was 5-panel hat brigade down the front. Maybe 5-panel hats weren't even invented back then. Just normal baseball caps. Oh. Here it comes. Oh, what pingers would I recommend with this? It's just Mitzi Turbo, really. It's just got it all over. Oh, one of those ones that are like thicker than your normal one. It's like 1.5. Yeah, Martin Day knows. Oh, I don't hurt MC Spider's feelings. This has weirdly reminded me of, there was a version of Tarantula that I definitely got off like Soulseek or LimeWire or something like that had Shabba on it, and then he wasn't on the sort of main release of it. Does anyone else remember that, or was it just me? Who knows? Anyway, so to take a slightly different turn now, turn a corner into a potential jungle cul-de-sac. DK and Rawful, Bowser. This is monstrous, absolute fucking soul destroyer in the best possible way. Oh man, they put out so many of these sort of styles, like DK, Ill Skills, all of that lot. Really sort of trancey, but in a good way, if you know what I mean. Kind of euphoric, uplifting, but ridiculously heavy, sort of synth-driven stuff. Just so good. Yeah, lots of arpeggiators and nice pads. Yeah. Tony, who's listening, have you not got anything that I've played? Is there anything missing from your collection so far? So also a note on my lack of twin turntables. I'm in the process of having a live stream studio built, which will be ready next week. But it's not ready today, hence why I'm in the fucking flat with one deck, like some sort of old school reggae selector. I don't know, I quite like it though. If you've got a fucking problem with it, you do one. Those that know. Now, I will challenge anyone out there to a fight that says that there is a better Pendulum remix of anything than this. I can't fucking think of one. But yeah, like the Red Stripe, if there is a better Pendulum remix of something out there, I'd love to hear it. Oh Mama, basically, I think is going to be the phrase for tonight. And Pendulum remix of Bacteria by Russian Optical. Put that in your fucking pipe and smoke it. Someone requested Signal by Fresh. I have it here. Play that in a bit. Rob Swire is such a fucking monster. My God. Do you think it's the chin minge where all the power comes from? I don't know. It's an absolute pitbull terrier of a record, that. Just so ridiculous. What is it from? 2004. 14 years ago. That's older than Leo's in the chat. He's 12 or something, I don't know. Right, this is probably even older. This is an amazing record, just so ridiculously amazing that I don't even know what to say about it. This is on Reinforced. It is Total Science remix of Matrix's, or Matix rather, Manix, sorry, I'm losing my mind, Hardcore Jungleism, on this incredibly beautiful picture disc, which is really beautiful on one side, and just sort of shithouse on the other side, but what are you going to do? There's also a Breakage remix of Here Come the Drums on the other plate, which I might play as well. That's ridiculously good. That was sort of before, that was when Breakage was still technically up and coming and was just making mental tunes. That was sort of pre the So Vain days, which is an absolute banger. I tell you, it's well, that's the wrong side, obviously, isn't it? Bloody hell. Come on. Yeah, there will be a sort of 2-deck situation soon where we won't have these shenanigans. Get Swire on the radio show. I'm going to start doing it sort of more interviewy, just sort of podcasty things soon as well. So it's all possible. It's all possible. Well, there's a potential contender here for better Pendulum remix, although it's not. This is the Pendulum remix of. What I'm holding up here is the Pendulum remix of Submarines by DJ Fresh. It's not. It's really good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as good as their remix of Bacteria. Let's be honest. Yeah, look, I'll play that Here Come the Drums remix. It's naughty. It's proper fucking. Oh. You can tell already it's Rascal. It's like one of those beans that you brush, and within 30 seconds you've already got dry mouth, and you just know you're in for a for a filthy one. Oh. All right. If we stick with Masters of the Nasty Amens, then we can't leave Dom and Roland out of the mix. And is this my favourite Dom and Roland track? Very good question. Oh, I think it might be. I actually think it might be. Oh, let's just start it about a minute or so in. It's fine. It takes a little while to get going. Sounds very David Bowie. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. There are a few different versions of this. I've got a version of it on like a Moving Shadow compilation. Maybe it was one of those cheap ones they used to do for like £1 each. And I feel like that version was slightly better, but I don't know. It's a fucking amazing record though. I feel like the other one had more amens. Weird times. So good. Ridiculous. Oh, he made some fucking amazing records. In half a grumpy bastard though. Absolute stomper. Right. Now we're in for some fucking business. What is the... All right, I don't think there could be... You can't pick a best one, really, because, you know, you don't try and sort of play it cool by saying acid track or something like that. But post in the comments what your favourite Dillinger track is. It's a tough one. I'll tell you what it's not. It's Fast Car. But, oh boy, this is an absolute romper stomper.
Baby, it's on, it's on.
Oh, what I was going to play the intro of earlier, or maybe I'll play it after this, is the Dillinger remix of Nitrous by Bad Company. With the intro that's just like, remix! Bless him.
How dare you?
This was a proper double drop weapon back in the day. Go on, let's have a little shifty at the intro of the Dillinger remix of Nitrous. Let's have a little chuckle at it. No, look, I'm not for a second mocking Carl. He's one of my favourite producers. Like, I don't know. There's something like there's got to be a tongue-in-cheek element to it. Like. I see, a slightly weird thing to imagine, but I kind of like imagine him waking up in the morning, getting out of bed. He's probably got like leather pajamas or something. And just looking at himself in the mirror and be like, oh! Dillinger! Huh! Cleaning his teeth. Oh! Oh! Nitrous. Is this a remix by any chance? Dillinger's music is just like distilled toxic masculinity. It's fucking beautiful. Yeah, that's absolute fucking fire, isn't it? We got here on Prototype. Oh, mama. 2004 was a very, very good year. Very good year for drum and bass. Yeah, right. Yeah, anyone who's got this is going to know exactly what it is. They've seen it come out the sleeve. And it is a fucking beauty. Bassline Smith and drum sound. You bad motherfuckers. This was another double drop weapon. You might know it from such DJ sets as DJ Friction, Mamby Swift. ...2017 remix of what? This? Well, I've got a promo here that for the longest time I thought was by Friction, but it's not. It is Troubleshoot by Resident Evil, which is audio, Mackie, and Risk. Man, I played this just so many times. So many times. I'm surprised the vinyl's not worn out. It's just ridiculous. It's just one of those tunes that's like, there's only about 4 or 5 bits to it. It's like there's a bleep, there's a ridiculous respace, there's the Trayman break, and there's a vocal sample. And that's kind of all you need, really, as long as you put them in the right order at the right volume. And this, oh man, it's just so good.
Do not attempt to leave the dance floor. The DJ booth is conducting a troubleshoot test of the entire system. Somehow, while the party was in progress, an unidentified frequency has been existing in the system for some time. And while many of you have been made too brainwashed to comprehend, this frequency is and has become a threat to our society as we know it.
I hate being too brainwashed to comprehend. It's rubbish. I believe that bleep goes from beginning to end. I don't think it stops at any point.
Troubleshoot.
Ridiculous. Proper rascal.
Do not attempt to leave the dance floor.
There used to be a record shop in Brighton called Dance Traders, and they had just ridiculously like comedy oversized speakers in there. And I remember them playing this to me, and just it was a little bit like the scene in Human Traffic, but I don't know, but like more pingers. Right, I got this, which is by someone called is on Intercom, and is by someone called Ringleader. It's almost certainly a pseudonym, but it's just a really bizarre sort of hilarious tune with someone. It sounds like MC Pitman. I don't know if anyone remembers MC Pitman. He did Witness the Pitness, amongst other hilarious songs. But yeah, I guess. You can tell this is. You can tell where we're going with this one.
Say me a bad man. Upon him might say me a bad man with a jungle style. Go for the beat, I'm in a move to the beat. Cause you ain't fucking good enough to be that arrogant. Your ego's too big for you, it's too extravagant. One of these days you tread on the wrong toe and then fuck me, man, you will really know. Cause you ain't fucking good enough to be that arrogant. Your ego's too big for you, it's too extravagant. One of these days you tread on the wrong toe and then uh-oh. Some of these guys say lies just cause they rhyme. That's no fucking good in my eyes, that's a crime. You mumble some crap and that was a bad sign. Can't be a good boy now, you've had your time and you've had your fun. And I'm telling you, you're done. Your name's on the flyer, that's why no one come. And you're bad for the scene, you give it a bad name. Cause people think jungle and you are the same. But your flow's so weak it actually cheers me up. Cause I laugh and it's good to laugh. Marks out of 10 if you say half, and you get half a mark cause you made me laugh. In old school English, kid, you look daft. You're a piece of bum fluff, all acting street tough. You can learn from this flow, see this is the good stuff. Stop fucking around, man, enough is enough. Cause you ain't fucking good enough to be that arrogant. Your ego's too big for you, it's too extravagant. One of these days you tread on the wrong toe and then
Monkeys in the chat says Easy Rollers pseudonym. Very possible. There's an Easy Rollers remix on the other side. So
ego's too big for you, it's too extravagant. One of these days you tread on the wrong toe and then uh-oh.
Right, that's probably enough of that. I've got this now, which is the John B EP In Transit, which in no, I'm not going to say it's his best work because obviously, you know, you can't deny, you know, Up All Night really as being John's best work. But oh man, there's some absolute monsters on here, and also for the fact that on the other side it has R.I.P. John Peel written on it, because I was on me, Jack Mum Dance, Elvis 1990 and a few others, largely going under different names at the time. We're on a journey up to play at some university in Wales that a friend of ours went to. We were doing a show there, and in the car on the way there we heard that John Peel had died. Very, very sad. And there was like a whole video system thing set up because there were like people in different rooms able to hear it, and there were monitors and stuff, so we were doing a lot of holding this up. It's very sad. But yeah, I don't know which track is on what plate here. Perfect. This is what I wanted to play anyway. Like, I'm a huge fan of John B's stuff. I think people would probably be able to guess it, and I love John as a human. I even like stalking you on MySpace. Not as much as, the other stuff. I like the wacky stuff, but I felt like In Transit was like the perfect balance between the sort of wacky, different electro stuff and the fucking rugged, hard, balls to the wall amen shit, which is my favourite. And man, this Vampire Eyes tune is just so good. Like his production is just so good, just so crisp and clean. Like with that whole Bandwagon Blues, Blandwagon Poos thing, like when he did that sort of Twisted parody and just made Twisted look fucking stupid because his production was so much better.
Now look with your vampire eyes. Now look with your vampire eyes.
Here it is. Rinse it out proper. Alright, fuck it, let's play Up All Night. Oh, mama. Oh, man, I think I'm coming up already. I can feel the pingers surging through my veins. Right, from the top. From the fucking top. I remember some serious shirts off business for this tune. Oh my days. If they happen to be listening, Susie and Hannah, Matt, Ewan, all the lunacy crew for this one. Oh my days. A lot of like really aggressive gurning, shirts off. Particularly when the gun comes in. Oh god. Shout out to Elvis for the remix of this from Valve Sound. Woo. Here it comes.
Hold me tight, don't ever let me go. Never let me go. Never let me go. Up all night, I die for you. I die for you. Hold me tight, don't ever let me go. Never let me go. Never let me go. Up all night, I die for you. I die for you.
I'm not throwing shade on the drop at all because it's fucking amazing, but it kind of is all about the intro with that track. Whew, still sends chills up my spine. It was a really bad house remix of this, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago by some of the lads out of Scratch Perverts. I can't remember what they were called. Oh, I wasn't happy about it. The lovely lads, really nice guys, but come on. Right, okay. Now, slightly earlier, a couple of years earlier, maybe this is 2000. This is 2000. A little bit more Daniel Stein. Not related to Rick Stein, although much banter was had about that on Dogs on Acid. This is a little slice of Old Bad Company. Fresh solo on this one from their Digital Nation album. From their Digital Nation album. This is Breathe. Oh! Those mentioning in the chat, this will be up as a podcast later tonight. It'll be on the normal Rankin Radio podcast. I'm going to stick them all on here. I mean, I'm going to do these a couple of times a week. I fucking love it. Maybe we can do one where we all do Gurners together. It'll be great. Let's go for a little bit more fresh, just because it's my show and I get to play what I want, basically. And if you don't like it, you smell poo. It's not my problem. Fresh and Pendulum, Kingston Vampires. You know what's what. Come on.
This I want a name original. Everybody come and follow me, say. This I want a name original. Everybody come and follow me, say. This I want a name original. Everybody come and this I want a name original.
Very sorry. I mean, this is another one which I'm surprised hasn't completely worn out. I've played it so many times.
This I want a name original. Everybody come and follow me, say. This I want a name original. Everybody come and follow me, say. This I want a name original.
hell. Like, imagine making a record this good. Like, what do you even do with yourself afterwards? Yeah, masochist. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, what the fuck? I might try and get Fresh on a podcast. He's a lovely man. Fucking interesting man.
This I want a name original. Everybody come and follow me say. This I want a name original. Everybody come and
All right, so this next one, I'll be very surprised if anyone in the chat has got it. Maybe. It's on Mix and Blend, and whoo, mama. So, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I basically grew up in a club called the Volks on Brighton Seafront. Still there, same door staff. Been there for nearly 20 years. Oh, that's terrifying. And a guy called Chris Natural used to run a party there every Friday called Lunacy. One of the best, best times I've ever had, really, in terms of clubs. There's only like 250 capacity, and it was never named DJs. It was only residents. And there was a whole sort of thing, a kind of, don't know what you would, a meme, really, in a way, of like the last tune. Every Chris would always play the last tune, and it would be like, all right, no more tunes, and then everyone would keep shouting, and the door staff would go, all right, play one more. And Chris had a sort of collection of one mores, which used to change sort of every couple of months, but there's the main one was the Blair Witch tune, which by Prisoners of Technology, which as far as records with memories go, that's top of the fucking pops. But this was the last tune for such a long time. I was listening to it in the studio earlier, and it almost brought me to tears, which is ridiculous for such an aggressive, like, insane track. But it's an emotive track, man. Like, it's it's got 9/11 shit in it. It's this is Evil Streets by Capital J. It's so good. It's so fucking gully.
This is perhaps the most audacious terrorist attack that's ever taken place in the world.
Certain airports, including Los Angeles, are under strict security measures, will remain that way.
We will find those who did it. We will smoke them out of their holes. We will get them running, and we'll bring them to justice.
Osama bin Laden, the prime suspect in Tuesday's terrorist bombing.
From the Pentagon crash shows that the plane was going at least 345 miles an hour when it hit the building.
When you see those towers from the plane, you know you're home, and you know there's no place like New York. New York, 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 New York,
New York. Yeah, completely unmixable intro. That's why it's got to be the last tune. another one of those simple monsters. It's just like, just ridiculous bass sound, a lot of drums, some amens in the background. That's all you need. Yeah, Leo's brought up that Evil Intent track that had the Bush sample at the beginning, which was what was it called? It was like the first track of their album. We will follow that path all the way to where it leads, the history's unmarked grave of discarded lies. Which sort of doesn't really mean anything. It's just like quite a powerful speech though. Yes, Era of Diversion by Evil Intent. Tune. Oh, sorry, I'm just smashing stuff up now. Alright, let's take a complete change of tact here for some of the finest Brazilian flavors of the early noughties with DJ Markey and XRS with their seminal Get Down. I remember hearing Marky play this, finish with this, in the Ocean Rooms back in the day when the Ocean Rooms was a club and not a sort of patch of wasteland. Oh, man, there were some fucking good times had at the Ocean Rooms, but this would have been at Mini Melt or, I don't know, maybe Substance on a Friday, but just quality, 300-400 people, really low ceilings, sweat dripping off of the ceilings, Marky losing his fucking mind behind the decks, being the flamboyant, ridiculous Brazilian madman that he is, playing this as the last tune, and oh my days. This is so good, this tune. So this is like proper festival fodder, proper summer ridiculousness. Oh. Imagine doing your first bean for this. Going for a piss. Talk amongst yourselves, alright? Right, there's a debate going on in the chat. I feel it's an important debate. It's a crucial debate in a way, which is Messiah, Conflict Messiah, Spore remix or original. Oh. Hold on, wasn't it a noisier remix? No, it was Sport, sorry. Well, look, they're both great, basically. You know what? I would veer to. I mean, for sort of classic ridiculousness, obviously the original, and at the time, Lord of mercy, but for dance floor destruction, the Spore remix is, oh man, it's just on a whole nother level, really. It's like, oh no, was it? Oh no. Yeah, no, we're already into that. There was a Spore remix and a noisier remix. It's the noisier remix, though. Oh, unsurprisingly, the noisier remix is an absolute dance floor destroyer. Shocking stuff. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the Spore remix is, it was picture disc. Now, this is a funny bit of kit. This is a high contrast remix of Future Sound of London's Papua New Guinea. Now, that was an unofficial bootleg in itself. It didn't ever come out officially. And this that I've got is one-sided. And it is ripped from someone else's DJ set. And through the sort of last third of it, you can hear it being mixed into a John B bootleg of New Order. It's just all over the place. It's like the second half is different tempo to the first. It's absolute chaos. But, oh man, it's so good. I'm going to play it from the middle, actually, when it goes into the sort of breakbeat-y breakdown. It's just, man, yeah, High Contrast made some fucking ridiculous tunes. Yeah, it's a bootleg of a bootleg going into a bootleg. Yeah, so he says the most illegal record ever.
What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
Phase 2.
Thank you to everyone saying they're enjoying the show. I'm having a fucking blast. You know when the filtered amen comes in, you're in for a good time. Yeah, so you can hear the other tune coming in now. ridiculous. It's like Inception. Someone just mixing for me. Oh, yep. No. Right, here we go. Right, this I can play Alien Girl now by Ed Rush and Optical and or Fierce. Funny story actually. So the noise in Alien Girl, which is sort of the best. I'm not saying it's is it the best bit of the tune? Maybe. It's certainly one of the most sort of iconic bits of the tune, an iconic element of an iconic tune. It's from, it's in The Simpsons, like when the bus door opens in The Simpsons, and also in Futurama, it makes this noise, which you wouldn't even notice in, when you're watching a cartoon at all. Yeah, when it's in the context of this tune, it's just like the darkest sound ever. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Ed Rush and Optical have like sampled The Simpsons and they've managed to make it so dark. And I've done a few shows with Ben, Ed Rush, over the years. And I was like, oh mate, he sampled The Simpsons. And he was like, what? I was like, the noise in Alien Girl. He's like, it's just off some sample CD. So I'm sorry to like break the magic, but it's obviously was a popular sample CD. Sadly, Ed Rush and Optical and The Simpsons both got to it at the same time. Are we on the right side? Was this? Yeah, here we go. Yep. Ultimate stepper tune. Should we play Grimy next? I mean, no, we might as well. Yeah, why not? Right, so this is... oh, man. It's one of those tunes where, like, I just feel like if you played it... you played it to someone now, like, I don't know, play it to Leo, someone who's, like, still in their early teens, and said, hey, this was... it's just a ridiculous tune back in the day. You go, this sounds weird, I don't understand. I heard this first in the Escape in Brighton. Now, the Escape used to be called Audio, and Audio is now called Patterns. And way back when, I used to go there and take a lot of beans and have a bloody good time. And that's the wrong side. And I remember hearing MC Darrison announce this tune, and I think he called it Grinders. It's not called Grinders, it's called Grimy. And I remember going into a record shop. This was the thing back in the day, before like everyone had the internet. If you were in a club and heard a ridiculous tune and you wanted to know what it was, if you couldn't get access to the DJ booth to ask them, or if you were like on too many drugs to sort of, you know, form a sentence, you would then have to go to the record shop the next day or a couple of days after and go, oh, I heard this tune the other night. It goes like, and try and like mime the tune to them. And they'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're insane. Please leave my shop. Occasionally they might get it, but you had to go in and like basically do karaoke in a record shop to try and work out what stuff was. Sometimes it took me years to you know, to mime these records to people. Of course, now you just go bloody tune ID on Boiler Room or whatever. Some twat will tell you. Anyway, it's such a ridiculous tune. Grimy by Dillinger. It's so silly. Why is that kick drum like that? It sounds like when you're like auditioning something like. I would lose my fucking mind when this would come on in a club.
Time to get grimy.
Alright, I've got a couple more left for you. And it's time for bed. Oh, wow, hello. Oi, oi. Okay. Now, this is definitely pre-noughties. This is mid to late 90s, I guess. I don't know. This is almost certainly a bootleg pressing of it. Mama. As far as, like, ridiculous choppy Amen jungle goes, let's make sure we're on. Oh. Yes, indeed. The Ballo Blanco. there's at least a dozen versions of this tune. This is my favourite though, by a long way. Oh, it must have been so much fun making tunes like this. So, fuck it, we'll just throw it all in there. Get some of the reverse bass in. Why not? Yep, funnily enough, I heard this on a Mickey Finn tape pack for the first time as well. It's a little tune where the girl them alive. Arseness, this are the arseness. When we come there, dance. Right, I'm gonna play this. It's gonna be my last one, and we're not gonna have any more arguments. And then we're all gonna go to bed, right? Okay, good. This is just ridiculously monstrous. I mean, anything that comes off a barcode is going to be... Oh, someone guessed Pitbull Attack. I'm afraid you are not correct. It is, in fact, Corrupt Cops, Evil Intent remix. What is Pish Posh? Was that some of them messing around? I don't know. Pish Posh. Tish and Fipsy. I don't even know. Ooh, mama. That boomerang break. Youch. Pitbull Attack is a fucking tune, though.
Corrupt cops and crack rocks.
It's just so meaty, isn't it? So meaty. If anyone's listening on the YouTube that hasn't subscribed to my channel, please do, and click the little bell so you get the some notifications and that, and make me very happy. I love you all very much. But yeah, it is nearly bedtime. Also, the recording of this will be up on the Rankin Radio podcast in an hour or so. I haven't heard any Evil Intent tunes for a while. It seems like their Facebook page has turned into a meme page.
Who explain working hard may help you maintain. So learn to overcome the heartaches and pain. Who explain working may help you overcome the heartaches and pain. He got sick of kids to up cops and crack rocks, play shots, all the blocks,
Well, I thank you for listening, everyone. I've had an absolute blast. I'm going to try and do these as much as possible. I've got about 2,500 records to get through, so we could be here for the next couple of years. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone in the chat. You're wonderful. And please, subscribe to the channel and grab the podcast on the Rankin Radio podcast and listen to the other ridiculousness of me and Jim talking twaddle to each other every week on the sort of chat-only shows. Right, until next time, lots of love.